this is Kaishan from Liberty, Melbourne. Thank you for joining me for this tea workshop. And it is also my first online tea workshop. I've done my best to set this up in a very short time because it's a last minute decision to present this workshop on Nomad Tea Festival. And I'd like to thank them for giving me this opportunity to share this tea practice of mine with you. And also would like to apologize for the lighting because nighttime is the only time that I can find to film this tea workshop without a 5 years old running in and out of the camera. So without further ado, I'd like to start the tea workshop and firstly give you some background of brewing tea with a bowl. So in my opinion, brewing tea in a bowl, you can say it is the oldest tea brewing method existing in human history. Because the legend where Shen Longshi had discovered tea as a beverage was when he was sitting underneath a tea tree and boiling some water in a pot, and then a few leaves had fell into his pot, and he drank the liquid and had found out, these leaves actually had some medical properties such as detoxing to cure minor food poisoning, for example, back in the day. And I would also like to add in some interesting knowledge of Shen Longshi, because from a long period of time, including people who are born and grow up in China, we all thought that Shen Longshi is one person, and he was the empire and a god in our legend. But actually, Shi means a tribe. So Shen Longshi is a tribe that is called Shen Long. So it's not just one person who had found tea. It's actually the legend was that Shen Longshi Ri Chang Bai Cao means this tribe of people actually tasted 100 herbs per day to gave a very good foundation for Chinese medicine and also agriculture. So that actually makes it more realistic, because one person cannot try 100 herbs and discover its property in one day, but a tribe of people can actually do that. And then another background that I would like to add is that brewing tea in a bowl is actually very popular in Song and Tang dynasty. It is after the 12th centuries that brewing with a teapot started to become more popular. And because it was advised by the empire at the time that brewing tea, the old method, which is a matcha kind of brewing, involves too many process and too many equipments, and only people, the higher class people can enjoy tea that way. So he banned the tea practice. You can also find it in current practice where the tea farmer will simply take a bowl and that maybe a soup spoon to the tea field to test out the quality of the tea. We're going to switch the camera around and I'd like to show you what sort of equipment I use. Okay, as you can see that brewing tea with a bowl involves firstly a bowl. Can be any bowl really of any size. Of
course, if you're sharing with more people, then you probably want it to be a little bit bigger. Today we will be using a wider rim clay bowl. This is a bowl I bought from made in Japan. Very pretty with the white color, and it's really good for looking at the color of the tea. So good for tea appreciation, seeing the leaf to unfold, and also it's good for tea such as green tea. Tea doesn't need very high sort of temperature because it's right rim, so it cools down quickly. You can also use a taller, more narrow sort of bowl in winter for tea that needs higher temperature. Another thing, if you really can't find a bowl that you like, you can also use your guy one, for example, but that will be the volume of tea will be a little bit less. So today I've pulled out one of my guy one here for one of the demonstration. If time allows, I would like to brew 3 different sort of tea because it requires different sort of technique. So second thing that you will need is a teaspoon, soup spoon, like an Asian soup spoon. I have 2 different sizes here because you need to adjust your soup spoon to according to the tea bowl that you're using. Sometimes that if you can if you like to set up your tea session according to the style that you need, you might want to change the color, the texture as well. Sometimes a small pair of chopsticks will also help, but it's not necessary. And lastly, just as normal tea brewing, you might like to set up a fairness cup and some teacups for sharing with your friends. Now, I'll flip the camera back around.
Now the water is boiled, we will start to demonstrate our first bowl brewing technique, which is what in Chinese called 上头法. Pretty much just means that you place the tea leaves on the top. The first tea that we like to brew with a bowl is this green tea here. It is a jasmine green, not my favorite tea, but it's really enjoyable in summertime. So the first demonstration is perfect for summer if you have a really tender green tea that with a lot of tea buds. So tea that require temperature that is lower 80 degrees, you would like to use this method. So that's why we choose a bowl that is really wide rim. Sometimes you can also use tea bowl that is made with glass because visually it's more pretty in summer and more cooling. So let's start. So depending if you are sharing with not customers, in my case customers, sometimes at my tea shop, but guests, then you can adjust the amount of water you place in the bowl, and then we will drop the leaf in after you put the water in. And that's why a pair of chopsticks sometimes is handy, because if the leaf wasn't placed evenly, you can still manipulate it with a pair of chopsticks. And out of excitement, I drop all the leaves in one go. But normally, with the tea teachers that I follow, her advice is you drop the leaves in 3 goes. Then you can, place the tea leaf more evenly on the surface. And when I'm brewing by myself, after the tea had been placed into the bowl, there will be around 30 to 40 seconds where you can absorb the leaf, just trying to draw the water into the leaves itself, and it will slowly unfold. This is the perfect time to, if it's in your practice, do a very, very short meditation. So normally I'll place my hands around the bowl and just trying to appreciate the fragrance of the tea, and also to absorb the tea leaves slowly dancing in the hot water. And then eventually, when it's almost ready, about 70% of the leaves have drawn in enough water, then you can start using the soup spoons to distribute the tea into the teacups. Now I wish I had 2 cameras so you can see what I'm doing, because the tea leaves have slowly started to drop in to the bottom. Maybe I'll do another shot over here so you can see what's happening. Now I'm distributing the tea liquid. And the distributions of the tea liquid, we will follow something that is very similar to Japanese tea ceremony, where you actually would not go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because if you distribute your tea that way, then the strength of the tea liquid will be very uneven. So what we're actually doing is 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2, 1, and so on and so on. So the cups that you finish with for the next round, you will start with that cup first and then go to the next and then the next. There's still a little bit of tea left in the bowl. We will then tip it inside the fairness cup. And if you like, you can, do a second brew. And to cool down the temperature, we normally use a teaspoon. Sorry, keep saying teaspoon. Soup spoon. So the hot water will travel to the surface of the spoon first, and then subsequently cool down the water and then go into the tea bowl. So that's our first brew for green tea. Cheers! Sweet. Now with the camera bringing closer to me, I'd like to show you a second technique of bowl brewing. And this method is good for brewing tea that's require temperature around 80, 85 degree, maybe even 90.
So for example, the black tea we are brewing tonight is very nice around the temperature of 90 degrees. It is a charcoal roasted black tea. And because it's charcoal roasted with low temperature for a longer period of time, a lot of the caffeine actually being extracted. So this tea is very sweet and good for nighttime sessions such as tonight. And other tea you can try with this brewing technique is Oriental Beauty. Let's start. So firstly, we will place the water, fill the water up to 1/3 of the volume. Then we will fill in more water. You can use the water to go in a circle. That way you can, that will help lower the temperature of the water as well going into the bowl. When I'm brewing tea, to be enjoyed on my own, I like to use a smaller bowl because in that way I will be able to use less tea as well. Another thing that you can do when you're drinking alone is you can drink the tea directly from this tea bowl, because when the tea is ready, the leaves should be sunk to the bottom. One of the questions that you might ask is how much leaves do you use in a bowl brewing session? I would suggest half, but of course there's no rules in how to do this. It's all about preference and what suits you best. Now the tea is ready. Now, since we have the camera so close to us, I'd like to also show you how to hold onto your bowl when you are pulling the tea into the Venice cup. So with a smaller bowl such as this, I like to grab it like this with your 3 fingers, and you can see that I'm only holding the bowl on the top, so it's harder to burn my hand, just like handling a gaiwan really. But with a bigger bowl such as this, it is really too heavy for me to do a 90-degree tilting without dropping it. So I will hold it such as this. Also only on the top of the rim, and in that way I can tilt it with confidence that I won't be breaking anything. Now I'd like to also show you how to do the second brew. So with a teaspoon, allow the water to drop into your teaspoon first before going into your bowl. Then that way the temperature of the water can be lower. Now let me try this tea. Again, very sweet. Now for our last brew tonight is a Taiwanese oolong from Mount Ali Shan.
It is a medium roasted oolong, and as you know, oolong require higher temperature to really fully extract all the nice fragrance and flavor out of the tea. And that's why we'll be using what we call 下头法 for this brewing technique. 下 means bottom, and it is literally to try to place the tea at the bottom of your tea bowl, unlike the first and the second brewing technique. And because this is a tea that requires higher temperature, we will also do something that we didn't do for the first and the second brew, which is warming up your bowl and your equipment before you start brewing. So let's start. Doing a tea demonstration, we will also use this time to appreciate the dry leaves before we place the tea in. Have a smell. I can smell very strong seaweed sort of note. The nori that used to wrap the sushi around. One is dry roasted. That's the sort of smell that it reminds me of. And then we will place it inside the tea bowl. We won't be drawing a circle because we want the full we want the highest temperature possible. And as the leaves starting to unfold, we can start tipping the water into the waste water bowl. Now for oolong, I like to again wait about 40 seconds for our first infusion. Even we are doing bowl brewing, that's the brewing time that I tend to follow. And going back to the start of the video when I said that when you're waiting for the leaves to be unfold, it is a perfect time to do a quick meditation if it's in your practice. It's really good routine for me, as I have found it very hard to fit meditation into my lifestyle. And tea is something that I drink and I make, if it's not once a day, twice a day. And I normally, after looking into the bowl, it really recharged me in a way. So I really recommend you to try it, even though you had done no meditation before. Now we're going to distribute the tea into the teacup. You can really smell the caramelized sugar in the leaves and the liquid. It really smells very nice. Allow me to try it first before I keep talking. It is my favorite, one of my favorite tea, to drink on a daily basis. And brewing it this way, it allows a different experience and it tastes slightly different than brewing in the teapot as well. I'd like to end our workshop with a short summary about what we had covered tonight, which is the 3 different techniques that we use to brew tea in a bowl. And then the 3 techniques are all about manipulating temperature according to the type of teas that you brew. So the first one is a 上头法. So again, 上 means, top. And then 中头法 and 下头法, 上中下, top, middle and bottom. So you place your tea on the top when your tea require temperature that is below 80 degrees, and then you place your tea in the middle when you want to brew a tea that is about 80 to 90 degrees, and then you place your tea at the bottom, and then you also will warm your tea wares if you would like to brew a tea that is above 90 degrees. So for example, an oolong that we had demonstrated tonight. I, however, do not recommend you to use bowl brewing for a pour, as you know, pour has a lot of substance that can be extracted from the leaves. Having a lower temperature does downplay the flavor and the fragrance a little bit, although there's no strict rules. If that is what you have and you would like to have a go, please do so. And I would also like to again apologize, because this is being my first online workshop. I had a lot of technical issue where I forgot to press the button, I forgot to turn on the mic, so you might see a lot of scene changing, or the sound quality not being the same. I'm very frustrated and very tired, because I did some of the takes a numbers of times, but haven't actually been stored in the phone. Anyway, but that is my issues, not yours. And I hope you had enjoyed this this workshop. So tired, sorry. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me through social medias. You can go onto Instagram, for example, to message me. Our Instagram account is liberty_Melbourne. I will place some text here. If my editing skill is good, it should be appear on the screen here. And I will please also feel free to email us. My email is libertif@gmail.com. And then you can also find our homepage, liberty.com.au, to find some of the tea that we used tonight for the workshop. So again, thank you for joining me. I hope you had enjoyed the workshop, and hopefully I'll be filming more workshop and talk to you more about tea, which is my passion. And I see you somewhere else and some other time. And bye.